民主主義市民っていう国、今までの話の中でもとてもこのデモクラティックっていう話があったと思います。そのね、人たちをどうやってデンマークでは一人一人こう社会に参画してもらうような仕組みがあるのか、教育があるのか、そこについても話していければなっていうふうに思います。
Democracy. So what is democracy? To me, basically, it's the idea that as a citizen, you have to accept diversity. You have to accept different opinions and opposing opinions, as long as we don't violate the rules of democracy, which is we shouldn't use violence, but we should use debate, and we can express our different opinions in almost any way we want, as long as we show decency and respect. And I guess that's the core here. How to let children develop a good understanding of how you can express yourself and how you should accept other people's different behavior and different opinions. I can give you one example. One of the things that we do to a very great extent is we try to avoid setting up rules, strict rules. For instance, if you imagine, like in the youth center where I work, if we had a rule that said you can only play soccer or you can only play soccer for 15 minutes, then you have to leave the soccer field and it's someone else's turn. And you should be minimum 4 children, otherwise you cannot use the soccer field for you. You could set up that kind of very strict rule, and that would, to our minds, that wouldn't produce children who are capable of interacting socially, because they would be waiting for the adults to tell them what to do, basically, and they were trying to follow some strict rules. That's just one example. So what we do instead is it's very fluffy and there are no set rules, but the main idea is, if there's, like, this is what we would explain to children. If there's something you would like to do, if you would like to play soccer with someone, here's what you should do to make that happen. It's more fun to play with someone. If you really want to play alone, that's also okay, but I think you should find someone to play with. All right, so number 1, find someone else, talk to, approach other children, invite them to play with you. That's where you need your social skills. You need to interact. You need to find someone who wants to play with you. Then you need to check, is someone already playing soccer? Is someone already on the soccer field? If there's no one, then it's not a big deal, then you take over. If there's already someone, then you need to negotiate. What do we do? Can we join in? Can we play with you? Or should we wait? Okay, then how long should we wait? That's kind of negotiation skills. So basically, the role of the social educators, the pedagogues, is rather to be on standby, to be able to help children, but let them take the first steps themselves. Let them use their skills, their social skills, approach other children, make an agreement with them. Most of the times they'll be able to, of course, talk to them and negotiate. But some children will not be friendly if you approach them. And that's one situation that could arise, that you get a negative, very negative response, like, get away, go away. We're just playing, don't disturb us. We have this soccer field, go away. We don't want to be, you can't play with us. We don't want to play with you. You could have that kind of reaction. I mean, the children could have this reaction from other children. And if they can't solve that kind of situation themselves, they will usually come to us, the adults, and ask for help. The thing they need to learn is how to make the best for everyone, how to agree on something that they can join in on. And if they can't agree on the same game or the same rules, then they need to find a different solution. For instance, you play first, then we make a switch, and then we play. That's also a solution. But ideally, they should all be able to play the same game together. So the pedagogue is very often the moderator or the negotiator, like the mediator, actually, the mediator. We're looking for, we're listening to what the children are already saying, because they usually have some good or bad arguments. So we're trying to reflect on those arguments and make sure that the other children hear those arguments. For instance, one argument could be, hey, listen, it's more fun if we can all join in on the same game. That would be so much more fun. Why don't we all play together? And if the other children don't really buy that, if they don't accept it, then we'll try to say, hey, listen, you should listen to what she says. I think she's right. I think she has a very good point. Why don't you try to agree on one game that you can play, and then in 10 or 15 minutes, you can switch to another game, the game that you want to play. How about that? So we're trying to offer them choices, opportunities that they might not be seeing because they're so focused on what they want themselves. Basically, we can't force any children to do what we tell them to do, and we're not trying to force them, but we're trying to make them realize that they can't have it their own way all the time. And a lot of children are a little impatient, and they're very self-centered, and they have an idea of what they want right now. And if they don't get it, if they are opposed with different children who want something else, then sometimes they'll kind of stall and they'll just say, to heck with that, I'll leave. I don't want to be part of it. I'll go somewhere else. So we're trying to make children realize that it's worth engaging yourself in other people. Maybe you won't have it exactly your way or the way that you thought, but instead you will have a community with others. You can actually do something with someone else, even though it's not 100% the way you want it. And that's a very good democratic mindset to develop. So I guess the essence of what I'm saying is, children, like, we should all learn that in life you never really know what kind of response you get, but you should dare to approach other people, and if there's something you want to do, you have to explain to them and present the idea and invite them to join and do things the way you want to do.
ちょっと日本のね違いとでちょっと聞いてみたいなと思うのが、日本の中ではすごくこう相手の気持ちとか他の人の気持ちをとても大切にするっていうか、そっちがね優先されることがすごく多い感じもするんですね。でそうするとこう相手の気持ちを考えなさいっていうふうに教えられることも多いんだけれども、自分の気持ち、とってもデンマークだとパーソナルフリーダムっていう言葉があったり、自分自身を大切にっていうところもありながら、他の人のアイデアも大切にするって、このバランスの部分に何か大きな秘訣があるように思うんだけれども。
Children should learn that different people react in different ways. Maybe you will get a very aggressive reaction from this boy because that's his very common reaction pattern. It's not necessarily because he has anything against you, but if you know him, you know that he very often reacts this way. And over here is a very quiet girl. She usually doesn't react, or she's very shy. And again, it doesn't mean anything other than that's the kind of personality she has. But you shouldn't exclude them if you can. You should still negotiate with them, or you should interact with them. But maybe you need some help from us adults to learn how to do that the best way. We're trying to hire people with different backgrounds. In my group of colleagues, we have very different backgrounds, and we have also different personalities and different ages. And we're doing that deliberately to try to appeal to different types of children, and also to reflect this broad spectrum of different personalities, different abilities, different interests. And that's also a way to show children that we believe that one of the main positive sides of being a community is the difference that we have. The differences are it's a resource, it's a positive.
ここがきっとデンマークのクリエイティビティとかイノベーションにつながっていくのかなっていうふうにもとっても感じました。でもう一個同時に思うのはいろんな違いとかがある中で、でも自分のやる気を失わせずにいろんな機会に参加させる。
So what I'm trying to say is we prepare activities that we try to invite children to be part of, but we also listen to their ideas and we try to go along with their ideas. But it's not focused only on the activity, it's focused on the social, like joining in, being part of something, spending time with someone. That's usually the most attractive side of it, that you can do something with someone, and that's fun. You have fun while doing it. It's not only because of the particular activity.
はい、ありがとうございます。今日もね、いっぱいまたさらに聞きたいなと思ったんですけど、一旦ね、時間になったので、ぜひこの続きをまた聞いていきたいなと思うんですけど、本当に今、最後、マスが言ってくれた、他の人と一緒にやる楽しみ、なんかきっとここに、その民主主義っていうか、デンマーク社会に自分が入っていこうとか、人とのつながりの中で自分自身がやりたいことをやっていこうっていうのは、きっとここの子供の時に他の人と一緒にやる楽しみっていうのも一つの鍵になってそうだなって思いました。
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Well, there are some things that you can do on your own, and you can achieve very highly if you do things exactly the way you want it, because that's also one way of being innovative, doing something new in a specific way. But you will probably get even further if you can combine your own way of doing things with a community somehow, getting someone else to understand your ideas and join in on them. So yes, I guess a democratic mindset is very useful, and it's also something that makes a society more coherent.